This week on Inside the Headset, we are featuring Alabama A&M's offensive coordinator, Duane Taylor. Taylor discusses how to coach with confidence, highlights the importance of learning from other coaches, and gives his philosophy for coaching the receiver position. Now, let's get inside the headset with Coach Taylor.
Coach Duane Taylor, how you doing, man? Good to see you.
I'm doing great, sir. How are you?
I'm doing awesome, man. I appreciate you, taking the time. I know you spoke for us here at the convention. I believe the last one we had in person, and after a great season, it's definitely good to reconnect with you and kind of catch up with you here on the podcast.
I'm just blessed to be here. Thank you so much. Convention was great, and I look forward to being at the next one.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, before we kind of dive in and get into some of the more detailed questions, just wanted a quick overview of your playing career and just a really fast breeze through your coaching career and how you made it to Alabama A&M.
Well, quick overview. I was a 4-year starter at Fayetteville State University from 2000 2003. Had an opportunity to play for Coach Kenny Phillips, and we won 2 championships there. Coach Connell Maynard, that was his first year coaching as well. He was my quarterback coach all 4 of those years. So that's how I met Coach Maynard. From that point on, my high school coach is really Tony McKee out of Greensboro, North Carolina. He really got me involved in the coaching. At the time, I was playing arena football. I didn't think I wanted to be a coach. Didn't think I wanted to deal with the headaches of being a school teacher. But he got me into teaching, and I understood that teachers make all dreams possible. So it was a call from God for me. And after he got me involved in the coaching at the high school level, Coach Maynard and myself stayed connected. And Coach Maynard gave me an opportunity to coach at the college level at Winston-Salem State. So I've been coaching college football ever since then.
Coach, that's awesome, man. You Winston-Salem State, wide receiver coach, physical fitness instructor. All right. So you're able to do a little teaching at the collegiate level to kind of get your foot in the door there.
Right. Right.
Immediately, almost very quickly after leaving Winston-Salem, you had the opportunity to be a pass game coordinator, your offense coordinator at Fayetteville State, where you played your collegiate ball at, offense coordinator at Hampton. I mean, you pretty much dove into the coordinating role fairly quickly once you got into the collegiate level. What would you consider your coaching identity to be, and how has that helped propel you in your career to, kind of be calling plays fairly quickly?
Well, I consider myself the confident coach. I coach with confidence. I instill confidence in my players. I've been confident in myself my whole life. Again, I've been a 4-year starter in high school on a varsity level as a quarterback, when a lot of people thought I was too small or too young to play the position. I was able to do the same thing in college. So I understand that, self-esteem is about oneself, how you feel about yourself, how you wake up every day and have confidence and belief in your ability. Coach Maynard hired me at Winston-Salem State. Every day I would go to his office and I would have a game plan, and I would try to make my game plan as similar to his game plan as I could. So I would try to think as a coordinator, even when I first started coaching. So I try to think like him, try to mock myself after him. I might have 1 or 2 different plays, and he had 1 or 2 different plays, but that allowed him to know that, hey, this young man is on the right path. He's setting his goals higher than the position that he's actually in. So I prepared myself since day one to be a coordinator. I've always believed in myself. I've always believed in my guys. It's one of those things that I always tell my guys, if you don't believe in you, why should I? You don't want to play for me if you don't believe in yourself, because I'm going to make sure that you believe that you're the best player out there. So that's one thing that we take into consideration every week with the guys that we recruit, the way that we coach. We coach confidence. You have to be confident. You have to believe that you're supposed to be great. And that's the thing that I believe in the most, is installing confidence in my guys.
Coach, that's an awesome answer, man. I kind of had a feeling where you were going to go with that, but just actually seeing that come to fruition, putting a playlist together and comparing it with your offensive coordinator at a very young age, man, just to even have the confidence to go walk in there and sit down and say, hey, let me see what you got. This is what I got. Now that you're in this role as offensive coordinator, do you find yourself maybe doing that a little bit as from a head coaching standpoint? Not necessarily putting a game plan together for as the head coach, but maybe thinking of some of the decisions you'll make that might be in conjunction with your current head coach or whatever. But just thinking about how you would run the program. Are you kind of doing that?
Oh,
stuff
yes,
now?
sir. Yes, sir. I didn't mean to cut you off, but definitely, Coach Maynard's like a father to me. I've been with him for 21, 22 years now, and we go in there, we talk about budgeting,
right.
Recruiting. Who and what area should we send guys into? What are we looking for defensively, offensively? When you're going to speak to alumni, we discuss all those things because he's trying to prepare me to branch off from his tree. And that's one of the things that I respect about him is that, a lot of great coaches, they don't want their staff to leave.
Right.
Because, your staff helps you become who you are. But Coach Maynard's a little different. He knows my aspirations. He knows my dreams. And he pushes me to those things. So we sit in the office and we talk about those things and discuss them on a daily basis. So I'm just preparing myself. When my moment gets called, I'll be ready.
Absolutely. Things like budgeting, recruiting areas. How do you assign coaches out to those specific areas? Really getting involved with the opposite side of the ball that your professional, coaching experience lies in. Those are the things
right.
that a lot of times coaches get that first gig and they get caught off guard with because they hadn't had that preparation when they get the first head coaching job. So that's great. You're getting exposure to that. Now, you said before that you want to be a thief of people's good habits. Tell us what that looks like from a coaching point of view, and what are some useful habits that you picked up along your coaching journey that you've that's helped you be successful as you are?
Well, from a coaching standpoint, you can never learn enough for football. You can never learn enough about people and about the game. So from a standpoint of coaching, I'll take my head coach, for example, Connell Maynard. His first job at Winston State, his first day, he talked about going undefeated. That was coming off a 1-10 season, consecutive 1-10 season, excuse me. So, I sit there and I believe in coach. I've always have, I always will. But I was skeptical too. Like, hold on, coach. Let's just win 2 games. Let's slow down a little bit. But if, it says in the Bible, there's power in the tongue. And if you don't speak it into existence, it won't happen. So Coach came in with that mindset that he was going to take us to a place that we'd never been before. And once he got everyone to buy into that, we became that. We went 14-1. We was a couple plays away from winning the national championship. So I kind of took that in my repertoire, and I took that from him. You got to come in the door with your expectations set high. No matter what other people think of you, doesn't change the fact of what you should think of yourself. You have to be the best version of yourself. So when I'm watching a football game and I'm watching Oklahoma, I'm watching the Colts in the NFL, or I'm watching any football game, it's something they're doing or something they're teaching that I can add into my repertoire. Russell Wilson said the separations and the preparation. I remember watching SportsCenter the day he said it. I stopped my TV right there. I went and found a piece of notebook paper or a bill or something I had laying around. I wrote that down. I sent it to Coach Maynard. And that's something I've been saying ever since. You have to be willing to learn from other people. You cannot get to a point where, hey, I know the game. I know everything. No, you don't. The game is ever evolving. When I played, they didn't have RPOs. Somebody got lucky, put the quarterback in shotgun, and the quarterback pulled the ball and just threw it out there, and the ref didn't call the flag. And next thing you know, a whole new offense was invented.
Right.
So you have to be willing to learn from other people. You have to be willing to adjust and grow. When I had a running quarterback, I ran the ball with my quarterback. Now that I don't have a running quarterback, well, I have to have different sets of RPOs that he can master and put him in different situations. So you learn from other people. You have to grasp that knowledge from other people. Okay, if I got a running quarterback, well, who's a good offense that has a running quarterback in college football or the NFL? Okay, let me try to watch some of their film either on YouTube or get access to it. Who has a good drop back quarterback? Let's see what they're doing. Who has great wide receivers? Who has great running backs? Let me see what they're doing, how they're using these guys, and what way I could use my guys in similar ways. So that's what I mean by being a thief of people's good habits on the field and off the field, of course. Having good character and being a good man, so on and so forth. Those are things that I try to incorporate in my everyday life.
Well, just to kind of put this out there, I know I mentioned earlier you did speak at the AFCA convention, but at the drop of a dime, you didn't hesitate to go out there and give some of your good information out, and I think that's not only just as awesome, but if not more awesome that you're willing to go and learn from other coaches, but also willing to pour into other guys, pay it forward just a little bit. So we sure appreciate you from that standpoint. Now let's talk about this season. 5-0. I know it was a shortened season. Second SWAC championship for Alabama A&M in school history.
Right.
I think obviously talent is always going to be very important. Obviously the ability to go and coach, but this year was especially different because how you dealt with COVID, how you kept kids focused throughout the year, throughout that semester where they weren't playing ball or a lot of them weren't even on campus. I think it was a lot more involved this year to find that finish line to success. What was some of the things that led to the success of your program this year?
Well, as you said, it was a little difficult, but we found time to make time for each other. Anything you want to do, you make time for it. So we were able to get on Zoom or FaceTime and do push-ups together, have different meetings, play games together online. Just find a way to get more involved. I had to get back on the sticks. I retired from Madden, but they brought me back out of retirement. I took my lumps early, but I got better. So just finding ways to keep these guys engaged, right, and keep them involved. That was a little difficult from a coaching standpoint, as I said earlier. Coaches don't redshirt. Players. You have a certain amount of players on the team that know that they're not going to play every Saturday. Well, coaches expect to coach every Saturday.
Right.
So it was a little more difficult for the coaches at first, but then the players found a way to get us, hey, coach, it's going to be okay. They don't want to play it, and we instilled their confidence in our guys that much where they felt that guys just didn't want to play us at that time. And no slight against anyone else, but that's the culture that we wanted to develop, that they believed in themselves. Respect all, fear none. They didn't fear anybody. They didn't duck anybody. They were ready to go every week. Unfortunately, other teams didn't. They had COVID at that time. So it was a difficult season, but the guys really bought in. They knew what we had returning. Honestly, our motivation a lot of the season was we had Alcorn, the 6-time defending champs, the first week of the season. And we felt as if Alcorn is a great team. They have a great coach in Fred McNair, great organization, good quarterback. But we felt like they escaped one last year. We were 6 inches away from being Eastern Conference champions last year. So we used that motivation to come in the season, and we were ready for Alcorn. Unfortunately, they had some events where they were unable to play. So we knew we were the big dog at that point. So we had an X on our back. But that's where we wanted to be. That's what we talk about when we talk about coaching confidence. You have to be ready to be prepared to have that X on your back. And what are you going to do when you get it?
Right.
So the guys went out there and they played hard. Every game, took it one play at a time, executed on a high level. We have a spectacular quarterback, and he took another step towards his progression of being a great leader, and he led us to the finish line. So we were very proud of that.
Well, I was able to catch a couple of those games this year, Coach, and one thing that stood out is your quarterback and the dynamic offense you guys put on the field. Now you guys played well on both sides, all three phases of the game, but especially the offense was extremely dynamic. You have a great history, through your coordinating experience at multiple universities of putting together some pretty good offenses. Now, one thing that's really unique is you work with the receivers. I won't say most, but a good amount of coordinators are with the quarterbacks. All right, you work with the receivers; they're a huge focal point in your personnel. You take responsibility for coaching them. So, what are some of the reasons for this philosophy, and what kind of culture do you create with those receivers to make them such an important part of what you guys do?
Well, we have Connell Manor, he played quarterback on a high level, played around the league for 15 years. Jason Meyer played quarterback at Virginia Union University. Really good quarterback, took those guys to the championship. And I played quarterback myself. But of all three guys, my personality is a little different than those guys. So our quarterback is going to get coached up by three different guys, including myself. Well, as wide receiver, you have to have confidence. And, me being the shortest guy of those three, I do believe I had the best arm out of those three. They'll tell you that. I believe in that. But me being the smallest guy, overcoming a lot, coaching wide receiver was a perfect fit for me. Because at wide receiver, again, you're judged on did you catch it or did you not catch it?
Right.
There's no in between there. So you have to be borderline confident to the point where, yeah, he seems a little arrogant. No, he's not arrogant. He's supposed to believe that he's the best wide receiver on the field. And my job is to cultivate that confidence, but yet make him understand how it fits in the grand scheme of everything we're trying to do. The biggest blessing that I had this year is that I had 6 guys, maybe 7, that would have started at any school in the conference, but they played for each other. We were able to convince a young man who wants to catch every ball, he wants every play to come his way, that if the other wide receiver on the other side of the field is getting off, now he's going to get too high safety. Now you're getting one-on-one. Mm-hmm. Then you're going to dominate. Okay, they go back to him. Then the other guy's going to dominate. If they doubling both outside guys, then the slot receiver's going to dominate. And they started to buy into each other and hold each other to a different set of circumstances. And, we just had a saying, in between the lines, I got you. So anything that happened in between those lines, they were brothers. They blocked for each other. They were excited for each other when we scored touchdowns. We have a rule at practice where when we score touchdowns, we're not going to do what Barry Sanders does. We're not going to act like we've been there before. We're going to do that in the game because that will hurt the team. But at practice, we're going to celebrate. We're going to be excited about other people's accomplishments. I heard Gerald McCoy say this one time, that when you get a sack in the NFL, you wonder why those guys are dancing and celebrating. It's just one play. Well, I practiced that play 1,000 times. I practiced it. I put my all into that every time. And when it comes to fruition, then I'm excited about it. Well, you're supposed to be. Because it's still a game.
Right.
So you want them to be excited. So we cultivate that. We teach excitement, enjoying yourself. Now, in the game, we establish some foundations. Hey, this will get us penalized. We don't do this in the game. But at practice, it's no holds barred, man. We throwing a grenade. We dancing. They got me out there dancing, man. My dances look a little different than theirs. I'm still two-stepping, but, they doing all this other stuff. But we have fun, and they bought into each other. They love each other. I can genuinely say that my group loves each other, and every young man in that group has they bring something different to the group that makes the group great. So that's why I love coaching wide receivers, because, I know people say, act like you've been there before. You don't have to showboat. Well, they wide receivers. Show me one wide receiver that was great that didn't believe he was great. I mean, Randy Moss is one of the greatest of all time, but Randy Moss will tell you straight up, I think I'm better than Jerry Rice. Jerry Rice say, well, not so fast, young man. I think I'm still the greatest.
Right.
But Julio will say, y'all old time great. I'm new time great. So wide receivers have that personality, and you have to encourage that, but you also have to mold it into what you want it to be. And I think we were able to do that.
As a former wide receiver guy, man, that's great to hear, and I couldn't agree more. That swag and confidence and everything that you got to carry to the field to be successful is very true. And also making sure they know how to taper it and when it's appropriate and when it's not. But just
right.
breeding that confidence level, because that DB guy across from you, he's getting coached the same thing. And so
right, he's definitely confident.
Yeah.
You see, Deion Sanders. You can't be a man of a certain age and not be a primetime Deion Sanders fan, no matter who he played for.
Right.
If he played for, I was a Washington Redskins fan or Washington football team fan, as they're called now. and he played for the Cowboys. Well, I didn't like the Cowboys, but I love Deion.
Right. Yeah,
because he brought that confidence.
That's right.
Right.
Yeah.
He brought that confidence. Well, I can't coach a kid to beat Deion Sanders if he's not confident like Deion.
Right.
We spend time watching Jalen Ramsey film. Excuse me. And Jalen Ramsey is one of the best in the business to do it right now. But like I tell my guys, you can't go on the field and say, "Hey man, just Jalen Ramsey. Wow, I'm excited to play against you. It's an honor." No, you got to take the field and say, "Hey, Jalen, I've been waiting on this day for 4 years.
Right.
I've been waiting to play you. I'm excited to bust your head." You got to have that. And if you don't coach that and you don't allow your guys to be that, then when they get prepared for that moment, they're going to fold.
Right.
All because, you're trying to teach him, no, the game is not played that way. Yes, the game is played that way. So that's all we try to do. We just try to, like I said, again, be a thief for other people's good habits. That was one of Deion's good habits, that he believed in himself. I was just watching one of his interviews where he said Detroit Lions was going to have to put him on layaway. Wow, how cocky is that? How confident is that?
Right.
And we love that. We embrace that. And I stole that, So, and I just give it to my guys. So that's all.
That's right. That's right, Coach. Well, obviously, as I mentioned, caught a couple of your games. Extremely exciting. And it was the games in general. And with that being said, HBCU specifically, the SWAC, has received an increase in media coverage here over the last couple years. How are you leveraging that for success? More talking about on the recruiting trail, being able to say, "Hey man, check us out. We're going to be on ESPN2, ESPN this week." Some of those things, and how are you able to attribute that to your recent success as well?
Well, it's great. It's great. Unfortunately, in 2021, you can still go to some schools and they don't know that you're Division I.
Right.
And that's very sad because a lot of head coaches went to HBCUs. A lot of coaches who didn't go to HBCUs, they know enough about HBCUs to introduce their kids to HBCUs. They just choose not to because they don't get any credit for sending your kid to Alabama A&M. But if you send a kid to Alabama, then you're a certified coach, quote unquote. That's not true. The object is to get your kids into college and get a free education. So we're using all this TV as leverage to show guys, hey, not only are we Division I, but we play a great brand of football. Our quarterback can throw the swing pass. He can throw the hitch too. He's going to make all the right decisions, going to make the right throws, put the ball where it's supposed to be. Our wide receivers are not just going to go out here and drop the ball and fall down in open field. Our running backs run through on tackles. Our defense, they make sound, good judgment calls as well. So we want to show the world that, hey, HBCUs have been around for a long time, but we do a great job coaching. Just unfortunately, what you may see as lack of talent is great talent for us. We take what we get and we do the best with it. And we had an opportunity over this spring to put that on TV, and we didn't have any opposition. It's difficult when you're playing Alabama State and it's on TV, or you're playing Grambling, great university, on TV, but the Alabama Auburn game is on at 7:00 and you're playing at 6:30. So we didn't have that conflict of interest where people could really sit down and say, well, I love football. This is the only football that's on right now. Let me check these guys out. And they play a good brand of football. It's exciting. It's engaging. Once they allow the bands to play, that was amazing as well. So, wow, these guys are really playing a good brand of football. It's not what I thought it was. It's not what I thought it was going to be. So we're excited about that. And we hopefully will continue to get that leverage when everybody's playing. Even if we have to do what the MAC did and play on Tuesday or Wednesday. I think the MAC did a great job of playing their games on Tuesday and Wednesday because, again, you got Alabama versus Tennessee, or you got Akron versus University of Ohio. Which game would you watch?
Right.
So even if we have to divvy out a day for ourselves that we can play during the week or whatever it is, we just have to find a way to keep getting that exposure. I think our commissioner is doing a great job of that, and keep getting that exposure for people can see that this is good football. They have really good football coaches. And because sometimes we may not have the talent of a Nick Saban, we have to be creative in things that we do in our play calling and situational games. Because believe it or not, I can coach a running back who runs a 4.3 40, who's 6'3", 250, who can jump over a man standing straight up. I think I can coach a guy like that.
Right.
You know, so we have to do different things, and we're blessed to be able to have that TV exposure over the spring, and hope to build on it.
Absolutely, Coach. Well, I hope you guys continue to build on it as well, because like I said, I did enjoy this spring, being able to not have to flip back and forth between channels, because I've always you guys laugh at me here at the office. I mean, I coached that smaller brand of FBS, FCS football myself, and man, it was some fun football. It was some fun football when, like you said, you can't line up on 3rd and 1 and run power just because your O-line is going to beat your O-line. You better you better put some eye candy on it and find a way to get a yard, man. And I always love that creativity. So actually, I would watch that. You said the Akron or University of Miami. I probably would be the one watching my Ohio Miami game myself, man.
Same here.
Yeah,
same here.
I do love that brand of ball, man. But much success to you. Much continued success to you guys, Coach. I do appreciate what you've done to help out the AFCA. Look forward to hopefully getting you back up on stage here soon to talk about some stuff you guys do offensively. But before I let you go here, man, I want to give you the opportunity to drop your social media handle, your Twitter handle, so coaches can connect with you and follow you on Twitter.
Well, it's at Coach DT12. You can reach me anytime. I look forward to talking ball with coaches. Like I said, I want to learn from you. It's a lot of things that you think you want to learn from me, but it's a lot more that I can learn from you. So I look forward to speaking to those coaches, meeting up with those coaches. Again, TV is a funny thing. I've been offensive coordinator for years, and people just walk right by me. Now people are interested in what I'm doing, but I've been doing the same thing. So I'm still going to stay consistent, stay myself, stay hungry, humble. But, any questions, you can reach out to me. I love to talk ball and get to know some people and expand my knowledge as well.
Yes, sir, Coach. Well, I appreciate you, man, and look forward to connecting with you soon, man.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for listening to this week's episode of Inside the Headset. If you heard anything on this episode that you would like to learn more information about, head over to afcapodcast.com, where you can find every episode and all of the corresponding show notes. While you're there, take a second to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. If you have any questions, comments, or suggestions for the show, please let us know by sending an email to podcast@afca.com. Make sure to follow the podcast on Twitter at Inside the Headset and tag it when you share each episode. You can stay up to date with all things AFCA by following the @WeAreAFCA Twitter account. Every episode of Inside the Headset can also be found on your favorite audio streaming platforms such as Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and YouTube. If you are not currently a member of the AFCA, be sure to find us online at afca.com and apply to join over 10,000 NFL, college, and high school coaches from around the country who are striving to be the best they can be. With an AFCA membership, you gain invaluable access to the annual AFCA convention, the bi-monthly magazine, and the new and improved digital library, which contains thousands of videos and articles contributed by hundreds of current and former football coaches. You can also visit afcainsider.com to sign up for our free weekly email newsletter on the right-hand side of the screen. It comes out every Tuesday at lunch and is filled with great articles and stories written by many of the same coaches you hear on the podcast. It's geared to help you become a better coach tomorrow than you are today. Be sure to connect with me on Twitter at Coach Mario Price. And remember, the AFCA is not just an annual convention. It is an association that continually promotes education, guidance, and networking. But it is also so much more than that. The AFCA is about celebrating the past and educating the future. It is about developing great coaches who will produce great teams and even better people. So invest in your skill set and impact today by engaging with the AFCA.